go. Black Star. D-Bat. Yeah. Um, just wanted to do a quick review on a nice little amplifier here. I always recommend something with a high watt rating so that you have a lot of headroom. It's these are the kind of amps where if you're not looking for a ton of distortion, but instead you're looking for a really good aggressive sound. It's a good, I guess, World Demise, the best death metal album, the sound kind of like a guitar sound like that, where you're not using a ton of like gain and distortion, because you're just going for that clean power sound. I guess you can, what was it, the like how Godsmack, their live album or whatever has that really aggressive sound to it. This is the type of amplifier that you would use that with. And or if you were just looking for that Eddie Van Halen sound, this is a good amplifier for that as well, because you have it has a gain function on it. So you can see even here plenty of gain, because that's your overdrive. That's basically your volume. See, treble, middle, bass. You probably won't mess with that unless you don't have an equalization pedal, like a 6 or a 10 band. If you don't have that, then you can play with that. But if you got like a 10 band, that's when you could dial in your sound. But this is like a really awesome overall style amplifier that you can pair up with all kinds of different cabinets and speaker combos that you want to play with. Most of the speakers are pretty low watt. It's got like, let's check out the, I think it has a headphone jack. There's a button for 5 watt and the 100 watt. The 5 watt you probably use for your headphones. And that's what I would, so it kind of, it has everything you want. Let's see. Now, I believe it was in the back, right? It's got, I think it goes down to 8 ohms. So, I mean, that's good enough. You don't need to go, 16, 8, 16 would be for like your headphones. So you could use headphones. This type of stuff here I don't worry too much about, like MOSFET. Everything is a MOSFET. If you don't use MOSFETs, then your amplifier is going to have problems. 3-band EQ, that's just there if you're not using an EQ, going into the amplifier. But this is one of the coolest amplifiers around, especially for the price. I think it's like $400. Right? Yeah, shit, not even that. Insane. Loads of power. Any cabinet on the market. You can play whatever you want on this. Get as loud as you want, low as you want. Got your drive tones, especially if again, um, I'm a big fan of the Devil's Triad and the Triad Essentials, and that's what I would actually be plugging into the amplifier, um, and probably only barely using the gain on the amplifier just a little bit, and then you have your standard volume, which is all you really need out of an amplifier. I'm a big believer in pre-stage, which is your pedals, getting I believe will give you the most bang for your buck. You go with, if you don't want to spend a lot of money for like $2,000 sound, then you get an amplifier with a ton of power, and you have a really good pre-stage. That's where like the MXR 10 band, the Devil's Triad Essentials really come into play, because the more you have going in to the amplifier, the less of the amplifier gain you have to use, which is a good thing for a lot of reasons, because that's just less work that the amplifier is doing overall. And then you just really, you want the amplifier gain to just kind of match the voltage you have coming in, and that's how you're going to get the most out of that. There's no reason to have your amplifier's gain maxed. I mean, of course, if you're not using, boost pedals, gain pedals, and stuff like that, then go, by all means, crank it up. But if you're like me and you're about dialing in sounds, like, okay, I want to sound death metal-y today, well, I'm going to change the frequencies on my 10-band EQ. See what I mean? And then go to my drive pedal and set the boost where I want it to get the sound I'm looking for. And then having the gain maybe not even touched at all on the amplifier itself, and then just go sheer volume. This is just a really cool, low-cost amplifier, and which is another reason why I always try to explain to everybody that if you want your amplifier to last a long time, keep the amplifier boost low or the gain low. That just makes the amplifier have to work harder. And if you got a lot of boost coming in, then you don't have to work it so hard, and you'll get a lot out of that sound, or out of your amplifier, and it'll last a lot longer too. So I usually recommend at least 40-watt speakers. With something like this, you could probably run a 4-speaker cab, 25 watts each, and get a whole host of different frequency response speakers. Then you're gonna have whatever sound you want. What I'm a big fan of is 2 speakers that are just ridiculous on your mid-range and on your highs. So you're talking 100 hertz to 14K, usually somewhere right around there. Or as high as you can get it to go. It's like 5.6 or something like that. That will really give you in like the loudness you're looking for, and especially for, and then you can play anything. Okay, so like any kind of high distortion, low distortion, high or low gain, it doesn't matter. Then the other two, I generally run them. I try to get them to go as low as like 60 and only up to like 1200, 1400. Okay, those are the frequency responses you want. And the reason for that is because people don't realize how awesome mid bass is. They don't really understand that. Now, 50 to like 1400 is really good. You don't really have to worry about having a tuned cab that way. Generally, when you go lower than that, you have to have a cab that's tuned for that, but that's subsonic frequencies at that point, different genre of music. And generally the bass kick on the drum set, the bass drum should cover that bottom half there. So you don't really need to go full bore on that. So I would just focus mainly on that frequency response. Does the speaker type matter? Like vintage blues or clarions or Jensens or whatever? Yeah, I suppose. But a frequency response really is a frequency response. There's different, like, voice coil lengths, the windings of the copper around the voice coil, things like that kind of affect the overall tonality. But you can sort of mix. You don't have to go all one brand either. That's what makes something as awesome as this. It's just, you need a lot of headroom. The 20-watt stuff, that's punk rocker, just high distortion, doesn't sound very good. It's okay in like a big area, but if you're trying to, let's say, record, you're gonna have a hard time. It's just gonna sound awful. It's not gonna come through right. So the high watt applications are gonna give you the most bang for your buck. Put in some, and again, all you would need with this, quite honestly, is like a 10-band EQ, and then just go balls to the walls on its on the overdrive section of this thing, and just boost the hell out of your gain. You got all the reverb and clean you ever need. To me, this is like one of the best amplifiers you can possibly get. I highly recommend it. Leave a like, comment, cash apps in the comment sections, and then I will be able to buy this amp and teach you guys how to set it up. All right, see you later.